Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Pashhammer. So today is a very special episode. I have one of the hobby legends on with me, Bryan Carmichael. Hobby Killer is his nickname and Hobby Killer is his trade. Bryan, rumor has it you are in fact older than Lord Croak himself. Is this true or false?
It's probably true.
Yeah,
So
you've
yeah,
been around. It's probably fair to say you've been around for a while. When did you
yeah.
originally start playing the old Warhammer?
Second edition, whenever that was. So
Yeah.
I mean, I had the first edition box set, but yeah, second edition was when I started playing. Played kind of third and fourth tournament edition, stopped for a while, back end of sixth, and then heavily in seventh and eighth. So yeah, I've seen the seasons
You've been around the
change.
block, yeah. You've definitely
Yeah,
seen a few things, and in that time, you've been part of ETC Team England. You've been done lots of team events. You've done lots of TOing, including some of the
yeah,
biggest events in the UK. And then
yeah.
even since then, you haven't exactly retired. You've just gone off to do other things for a little while. So
Yeah, yeah. So kind of, I guess the pinnacle of kind of seventh, eighth ed was being on the ETC comp committee. So kind of pertinent to the discussion today. Then was a playtester for AOS up until kind of the back end of third edition, and then decided enough was enough of the round-based craziness. Paused for a while, and then kind of back into it. Now we're back to playing the game we all love.
back
So.
to the square bases. They always draw you
Actors,
back in, don't they? They
they
do.
do.
They do.
Yeah.
And this is what the reason really have you on today is basically just to discuss a little project that you and a few of your subordinates have been working on. I think that would be really, really good to share
Yeah.
with the team, and it's really about a comp system. And comp system is a composition system for those that aren't in the know. Now, there will be some people who look at this and there will be instant responses that say, we don't need comp, GW written a perfect game, we don't need any of it before. But this isn't anything new. This is something that we've heard in the past. This is something that's always been around as an argument. What sort of reasons have you seen in the past that bring out people wanting to do a comp system? Or why are people asking for it? What's the demand?
Yeah. So I'm going to sound a bit like a GW apologist for a while, but having been a playtester for a very long time, you never get long enough to playtest things. Um, and also some of the things that you provide feedback on. So there might be a unit that you provide feedback on that you say, oh, this isn't good enough. It's pointless to take it. Here's three or four different ideas that you could do. Pick one of them and it'll make it worthwhile. We've seen many times in the past that happens, and then the final version has all three or four of those ideas tacked onto it. Suddenly it goes from being worthless to
Too
probably
much.
overpowered. Yeah.
Right, right, right.
And, Games Workshop are a commercial entity. They don't have to play test. They make an effort. Is it the best effort? Probably not, but they make an effort. But those sorts of things always happen.
Yeah.
Also, in the old world, books were kind of on a 3 to 4 year release cycle, even longer for Wood Elves. I think they got to kind of
And Bretonnian. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Bretonnian, yeah.
Yeah.
So sometimes you needed to take corrective action to kind of bring them up, or in Dark Elf science sense, rain them down, because
Yeah.
whilst we didn't have the internet in such a great prevalence then, people kind of got to the optimum list very quickly, and they could cause some very unpleasant gaming experiences. And really kind of the point of comp restrictions is to kind of knock the top 10% back a bit so
Yep.
that they're not auto wins in
Yeah,
a
yeah.
lot of their games, and lift up the bottom 10% as well, so that you're not penalized by saying, I want to play Beastmen.
Yeah.
If you take Beastmen, you should at least be reasonably competitive.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the point of it all.
It's just bringing it more to an evil sort of keel across the board, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
And maybe limiting the sort of negative play experiences that some people will face if some lists are taken to the extreme.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the other thing it does is it produces some really interesting list variants.
Yeah.
Because people come up to Chris Cousins, good friend of yours.
Yes, very good friend.
Is expert at coming up with weird and wonderful lists. You think, okay, I don't know that that's necessarily the best, but he's very good at working around comp systems. As an example, we saw this for years in the ETC. So yeah, it produces diversity, and I'm going to talk more about the way that we've kind of gone about it, but it's designed to force choices. It's not designed to blanketly ban anything. It's designed to say, okay, if you want to take lots of this thing that is really good, it has a consequence. Yeah. So,
and it's in a way really, rather than limiting choice, it's really opening up other options, because what I find sometimes in an unrestricted environment, you'll get people figure out what the optimal choice is, what the optimal list is, and we'll make, variations of that. So you'll see that, Warriors of Chaos in the first sort of edition, they were all 90% of them were the same list. It's just, Dragon, Wizard, some other stuff. Like it was all identical. But if suddenly you put some restrictions on it, you go, okay, well, I want to try maybe this approach. I want to try that approach. I want to see how, what I can make out of this. And it creates list diversity. It means that people, they don't automatically know how a game is going to go when they see the pairings being drawn up. It is mostly for a competitive environment, of course, but there's no reason that you couldn't do that in a sort of more clubhouse gaming where you go, oh, you know what, let's not there's not going to be a disparity between me taking the filthiest tournament list that I could think of and you taking something much less fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, kind of if you're playing in your garage, you generally kind of have a good social contract with the person you're playing. But if you're kind of getting a pickup game at a local club, maybe, it gives you a framework to say, this is the type of game I'm expecting. So you don't get those kind of waste of life games where one person turns up with, something really fluffy and somebody else is turned up with kind of the ultimate cheesy list that they can. And that's just not fun for anyone. And if the person who brings a cheesy list is honest with themselves, it's no fun. There's no challenge in the game. You've won the game, but it's meaningless. You've annoyed your opponent. You're going to find it harder to get games in the future. So, despite my moniker, I do actually care about those things. Well, I can now.
I think it's hard to say you don't. It's certainly, and that's really why you and a lot of people like ourselves have started to look at comp systems, because we do care about the hobby and we want it to be successful. We don't want people to be disenchanted. We want it to be a successful game and to create sort of list diversity. So without further ado, you have then gone on to you and a group of people with some collaboration from the other sort of wider UK tournament organizer scene, have created what you have named as the pool comp system. This is in a way trodden ground. There's been things like this in the past. And what you've effectively done is you've sort of reimagined it into the old world. We've seen this sort of list in ETC.
South Coast used it.
South Coast GT had that in the past. Obviously Swedish comp, which people used to love, did have an element of this as well. And essentially, each army gets a list of pool choices, and they are allowed to spend those pool choices on certain items. We'll go through the examples, but basically the idea is to limit. You can't have all your cake and eat it, basically. At least not for the armies that don't deserve it.
No, some armies get extra cake.
And some armies get extra cake. Let's have a look at this. So this is basically explains a little bit more about how the pool system works. This has a list of restrictions. It is a working document. There's still feedback coming in, and there will likely be updates onto this as well. But it is certainly a start. It shows the you know, a list of pool choices. For example, in here it says you've got 7, and then, well, in fact, let's go through some of the armies. So we start off with a nice easy one, the Beastmen. So this mentions the Grand Army, the Minotaur Herd, Wild Herd. There's absolutely no restriction. So basically, we're happy that Beastmen they don't need any further restricting. They're as happy as they're going to be.
Yeah, they're kind of in that kind of fat middle. They don't need a boost.
No.
But they don't need any restrictions. And
Exactly.
kind of to your previous point, the intent is that there'll be releases of this every 6 months.
Okay, so it is a document that's going to be updated regularly as things come out. Because, to be fair, Old World moves a lot faster than we're used to in the days of like Warhammer 8th edition, etc. There are books released every quarter, pretty much, which can change the meta, and it's not something that we're used to. So, these things are needing to be updated a lot faster. The one that people will probably really be interested in is this Cathay one. Now, it's a great big chunky chunky bit of restriction, so let's spend a bit of time on it. So we have Cathay. Now, Cathay is obviously a Grand Army level at the moment. It's got a pool size of 7, so you have a Talisman of Protection on a Magistrate or Strategist is 1 pool choice. Armor of Destiny on Magistrate or Strategist is another. Crystal of Kunlan. Crystal of Kunlan, is that the...
They're all ward save items.
They're all ward save, yeah. Okay, on Magistrate or Strategist is another one. Cannon with Ogre Loader. I didn't know they come without Ogre Loaders. I just assumed that was an automatic.
They do, yeah.
So that's one option. Third Cannon is another option. Sky Lantern is one. Each Sky Lantern after the second, so your third Sky Lantern essentially onwards is an extra point. Dragonfire Bombs and Sky Lantern Bombs on the same model is a point. Each Shigungin Lord or General after the second is a point. Okay, right. So the army list that we've seen for Cathay that have been sort of wrecking everybody's life is these mega balloon lists. So say, for example, you have a 5 balloon, 3 cannon list. That would be, I believe, can you still do that? So you can have...
No.
So you can have one...
So...
Look, take me through this example and see... see.
Okay, so you could have 3 cannons. If you had 3 cannons without ogre loaders...
Okay,
yeah,
that doesn't seem so bad.
That would be 1. Yeah. 5 balloons would cost you 5 points.
1, 2.
So you're on 6.
It would be more than that, surely, because you have your...
And then you've got each Sky Lantern after the second, which would add another 3. So you're at 9 points. So that's
you're never going to have 5 balloons basically under this.
No, and then
even 4, I think, is not possible.
Yeah, we haven't factored in having Dragonfire Bombs and Sky Lantern on those. So we're talking about Iron Hell Guns or Crane Gun balloons, which are the least...
Still nasty, but...
Still nasty.
Less nasty option.
Yeah. So, and again, the top 3 restrictions, because you're getting extra wounds on balloons with
ward saves
characters on there, and then you're putting ward saves on. I mean, essentially, a strategist stroke magistrate on a lantern with a ward gets close to doubling the number of wounds effectively that a lantern has, and that's again deemed to be quite a negative play experience. Whilst the output's less, they're harder to kill. They're kind of more safe points.
So if I were to max out the pool choices on this, I'm just trying to think of what's like filthiest army I can create under this restriction. Are we thinking probably 2 balloons, 2 cannons?
So 2 non-character balloons are 4 points.
Okay.
Assuming you take Dragonfire Bombs and Sky Lantern Bombs, because
I think you probably would, wouldn't you?
Yeah. So that's 4 points.
Yep.
Then you could have 2 cannons.
So that's 6.
That's 6.
And one of your guys can have a ward save, basically.
One of your guys can have a ward save.
Okay.
So that's, it's still strong.
It's still strong, but it's not 5 balloons, 3 cannons strong.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, that feels like it's setting the precedent for toning things down. Like that, this isn't nerfing things into the ground. This is still a very viable, strong army, probably one of the top armies, but it's taking that really nasty top edge off. I like it. Okay, that sounds good. Okay, who's next?
I mean, so one of the things you can still do under there, you can do 3 balloons.
Yeah.
I think 2 Sky Lanterns, 2, third one's 3, 4, 5, 6, and a strategist with a ward save 7. So you can do that, but you're pretty much not taking anything else.
Yeah. And Cathay don't have a huge amount of options for anything else, so
No.
you are limiting your options in that sense.
Yeah.
It is a problem because obviously the comp system, and it says it further on, which I sort of skipped over, but one of the principles of it is not changing any rules specifically.
Yeah.
And I think a few comp systems are trying to do that, where it's like, we don't want to muck around with the rules because that creates, other issues. We just want to limit the really horrendous combinations of things. And Cathay does have this unfortunate state at the moment where the balloons are a problem. The cannons have some issues with them. Everything else is just really good, but it's not outright broken in certain combinations. So we've started off with a sort of one of the culprits, the biggest culprits that's probably out on the scene at the moment, and I think that's definitely interesting. It's definitely a good starting point. Some of the other restrictions are more than this, some of them are less than this. So let's have a little look and see. We're on to dwarves next. So Grand Army and Royal Clans, no restrictions, as are Expeditionary Force. So this is the gyrocopter spam lists, basically, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, this is just stopping you turning up to essentially Cathay light.
Yeah. And there's a generous pool of size of 9. Each war machine is a point. Each 2 gyrocopters is a point. So you could still have 3 war machines, 6, 12 gyrocopters. Is that what it is?
You can,
which, for the theme of the army, still feels like it's very in keeping. But it's certainly not like 4 or 5 war machines and 18 bloody gyrocopters flying around everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, there was a list at an event I went to recently that didn't do that well. It had 3 cannons, 3 bolt throwers, 2 organ guns, and hordes of scout gyrocopters. That's what you're trying. And literally, the core was then, I think, like 2 units of 10 scouts, the scout ones. Names eludes me. Not miners, the rangers.
Rangers, yes.
Yeah. And you're like, it just doesn't look like
it's
it
not
should.
fun.
No, it's not fun.
Not fun.
So yeah, again, it's like, we're not saying you can't take that. We're just saying, just tone it down a bit.
Yeah.
But you've still got huge amounts of choice in there.
It is a lot of still variety. Yeah. But you're not. The obvious choices are excluded, or at least the obvious choice for abuse basically is limited, and that's really the scope for it there. Grand Army. So this is where it gets interesting. Empire. So Grand Army and City State of Null, no restrictions. Fine. Knightly orders. So this is where we see the first army where we have an increase in points cost. Now, one of the other things that I should have mentioned really is this whole system is designed around the 2K army list restrictions. So but you could fairly easily scale this up or down then, I guess.
The other thing it's also based around is both Grand Melee and the other one as well.
Yeah, the other one. Combined arms.
The combined arms, So it's, we're assuming that those restrictions are in place as well.
Yeah, that's fair. Which I think is fairly common. I mean, that's pretty much what I think everybody's doing on there as well. And the suggestion here is, like, if you are taking an Empire Man knightly orders, you can take 2,200 points. And all of your brackets increase by 10%. Your core requirements, your characters, all of that makes sense. No other restrictions. Literally, just give them a tiny little boost in the amount of stuff they can take, which seems totally fine. That makes sense. High Elves, right? Pointy years time. Let's have a look. So Grand Army and the Thracian War Host. That's who this affects. Is the pool size of 4. Prince on a Star Dragon is 1. Seed of Rebirth, if mounted on a Behemoth, is another. Talisman of Protection, if mounted on a Behemoth, is another. Armor of Calidor, again, another. So all of these are limiting, basically taking a big tough monster with triple saves. At least in multiples.
What we don't want to see is double Prince on Star Dragon with triple save. And that again, it's not so good now in kind of 1.5 edition, but
nobody wants to see that across the board. Like,
it's so hard to get points off. And again, having 2 of them kind of negates some of the 1.5 egg changes. If you send them both in, one gets challenged out, the other still wrecks the unit.
Now, you could still have a Prince and an Archmage on Star Dragon, I think. So Prince and Star Dragon is 1 with a Seed and a Ward save, so that's 3, and then you have an archmage, and then I guess you'd have a seed
They
on
have
him as well.
they have either the seed or the talisman, because the prince might have the armor. So again, you still can't get triple saves.
You still can't get triple saves. Okay, so that is a concession. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's fair enough. The double dragon lists, while not as good now as they used to be, are still, I think, just a negative play experience. At worst, you can just hide those dragons, and that's 1,000 points that it's extremely difficult to get. So yeah, I can definitely see why that would be limited.
So in contrast to kind of Cathay took quite a hard hit, if you like, with the pool. It severely limits the choices you can take, because they're probably too good with some of the choices you can take, especially with the way the edition's trying to go with big blocks, etc. Here with High Elves, it's a much more gentle. We kind of call this a tickle and Cathay a slap. Gently that. Now, one of the things that we're looking at for a future version is potentially increasing Sea Guard, giving them, like we did with Nightly Orders, giving them
a little boost.
Little boost. Again, we're trying to. You can't make data-based decisions. There just isn't enough data. Anybody that says you can doesn't understand data. For history, I run a data science team, a very large company. So I come from a position of
knowledge and understanding
about these things. You can use information to support the decision. So we wanted to kind of go gentle with this one, kind of deal with the most egregious factions, which you'll see a bit more of, and then see how we go for 6 months, get a load of feedback, and then adjust accordingly.
That's fair. I think that's the wisest way to do it. So here's one of the other big culprits, I think, that's been causing a few issues around the scene, and it's basically the Brits. It's got a long list of restrictions here, so let me see if I can fit it all on the same page.
It's probably worth separating, because it's kind of
because it's in several chunks. All right, well, let's start with this one first. So this is the Grand Army and the Errantry Crusade. Pool size 3. Green Knight is 2 choices. Knightly Temper, that's the extra attacks on a flying mount. Okay, 1. So you can still take it on just a horse. Virtue Heroism, that's the Monster Slayer on a flying mount, is another choice. Each character on a flying mount after the first. So limiting that peg spam. Each 2 peg knights after 3 is a choice. After 3 peg knights. Okay, fair enough. Okay, so that first part there, it's a really narrow pool size choice. So basically, what do we usually see? We usually see lots of pegs, a couple of peg characters, and or Green Knight. Actually, we see all of these things in a list, to be honest. These are all the popular options. This is really making you think about how to do it. I mean, you can still have it in a horse. I mean, you can still have these choices, which I actually don't think is that bad. Like,
no. Still got 360 line of sight if he's running around by himself.
Exactly. Still has the same armor save. Okay, the toughness is not quite the same.
And the wound's not as much.
And the wound's not the same. But, you have a decent save. You have 360 line of sight. You have a decent range. You can still do the same job.
It's kind of making making Bretts look like Bretts.
Basically, rather than a flying army.
And as we saw with the High Elves, we've tried to be very specifics on things. So, with the High Elves, it was if mounted on a behemoth. Here it's if mounted on a flying mount. So you can still take these on foot or on horse. They're still good choices. They're not the choices that people feel create non-playing experience, negative playing experience. So the 360 degree line of sight, flying circus. If you, especially kind of in the mid to lower tables, like if you're playing on top tables, my expectation is you know how to play against these things.
Exactly.
But the mid to lower tables, if you've not played against this because somebody in your local gaming group doesn't own Bretts, you're just going to walk away from the game thinking, "What was that?" And it's not going to be the positive experience that we're all trying to drive to build the hobby. So that's also kind of part of this. I see a lot of competitive players say, "Well, that's not that bad. I can beat that." Okay, my expectation is you should be able to beat most things. But
not everybody
can do that. We're trying to rein that in. It's more kind of mid, with no disrespect meant to anybody, mid to lower level players.
Yeah.
We're trying to make it more fun for them as well.
And they would have, well, that's the thing is, if they were to face an army that, all singing, all dancing, Brett flying circus, in round 3 or 4, it would just not be a pleasant experience. You're hoping by that point to play people on more of an even keel.
Yeah.
And if you were to face something like this, it would just be a real uphill struggle, and it would really, it would affect the way that you play. Okay, interesting. I like that. Now, the other culprit is obviously Bretonnian Exiles. A slightly larger pool choice. This is 4. Green Knight is still 2. Each Bombard is 1. Knightly Temper again is 1. Heroism is 1. Each character on Flying Mount. So these are actually all much the same. So is the only choice you've added Bombards and a slightly larger pool choice?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So really to stop the double bombard.
Yeah.
So you can take double bombard, but it has a consequence. You can take 1 bombard because that kind of you can take a trebuchet in the other list if you want. So it's kind of to balance that. We've had lots of discussion around should the Frontier Axe be in here as a pool choice.
Yeah.
That's again something we'll be looking at for maybe a future iteration. But I know it looks a bit odd that Exiles, which are the better list, have got a larger pool choice, but they've got a larger pool choice because Bombards are in there. So
they've got more options. Yeah.
They've got more good options. So having them with the same pool size, effectively you're saying you can't take Bombards, which doesn't feel right.
Yeah, that's fair. I can see and there is a difference between the Grand Army and the Exiles in terms of, like, you actually have to make choices. They're both good in their own way.
Yeah.
And I think the Bombards have helped the Exiles to sort of perform better recently. So I can see that. Definitely would limit the amount of I don't even know what I would do when I was starting to look at army lists in this range, but I would certainly probably not take the Green Knight. That feels like a really big concession you'd have to give up.
And again, he's such a
game changer.
Yeah, he is. I mean, again, going back to playtesting, he's one where the rules probably need looking at, but that's outside of our scope.
Yeah.
So, and we went hard on him because if you've not played him before, and you're an Empire player who's not played him before, you might not have any magic weapons, or might just have 1 limited magic missile potentially. He's effectively unkillable.
He is. For certain armies, he is, and actually, he's probably one of these things that can wreck a game, no matter what table you're on. I mean, like you say, at the sort of upper tables, people will be prepared for it. But if you're playing a little bit lower down than the top tables, you could literally have this guy go through your whole army, and you can't do anything about it, and it will just feel horrendous. So yeah, I can see that. That feels justified. Okay. Orcs and goblins, no restrictions. You can take orcs and goblins galore. So, which is interesting because actually I think that is one of the stronger armies, a tier down from the top tier, as it were.
So they're actually Cathay's nemesis. If you play orcs and goblins well, they're Cathay's nemesis. In all the games I've played, they are, other than to other Cathay, they're the one that are really hard to play against. Now, we talked about putting restrictions on them, but actually having a bit of a gatekeeper army to an army you've already restricted,
might not be a bad
thing. I mean, if you were going to put restrictions in, it would be in the Grand Army, and you'd probably put Doom Divers and Fanatics in a pool.
Yeah. That's fair.
But again, you don't want to kind of remove the teeth of the army. So they're probably at the upper bands of kind of the fat middle. But they're still in that fat middle.
I would agree. I think they're one to watch. They do have some really nasty combos, but then there's other armies above them who need that army in order to keep them in check. Which, if that's the price we have to pay for a semblance of balance, then I think that makes sense. Okay, Tomb Kings. So this is one of the other big scary ones. Grand Army, Royal Host, and Mork Cult. Pool size of 5. A Bone Dragon is 1 point. Armor of Ages, if on a Bone Dragon, is 2. Okay. Casket of Souls. Each Casket of Souls is 1. A Necrosphinx is 1. then each 3 or part thereof of Shabti with great bows is 1 point, okay, and each model with the rise ability after the second is a point. So okay, so the idea here is basically to stop spamming the big unkillable blocks and lots and lots of shooty or Shabti, and also sort of the monster. You can still do the monster list, can't you? Because you can have a Bone Dragon with the Armor of Ages, that's 3, and 2 Necrosphinx.
Yeah, but you can't have that and the Lich Priest on a dragon.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. So that is a concession.
Yeah.
You can still do the double Casket of Souls and some amount of your Shabti. Well, you can still do like the bigger Shabti list, can't you? Each 3. So you could do like, you could do 9 Shabti.
And 2 Casket of Souls.
Which seems quite nasty, but not like, then there's a Necrosphinx, then there's all these other things. Okay.
No, and again, we Mortuary Cult had been the big bad. With some of the changes in the FAQ and the new edition, it's got less teeth. Grand Army, probably the Grand Army 4, T5, T6 flying monsters is probably the stronger list now. Armor of Ages is just, doesn't matter how good you are, that's a hard one to get around. Unless you kind of got a strength 9, 10 weapon, Cathay have. It's hard. You're re-rolling all your wounds, so that's why specifically going to get on a Bone Dragon.
Yes,
I mean, nobody's going to complain. I don't think. I've never seen it. If you take a king on a chariot and give him the Armor of Ages,
no, I don't think anyone will care. I don't think anyone even takes that.
But no, I've never seen it.
I've never seen it because everybody takes the Bone Dragon.
But again, this might force people doing that. Or I think you can take a king on a War Sphinx.
Again, an option that I've only ever seen one person do ever.
Yeah, absolutely. But maybe that forces somebody to say, Grand Army, I still want my 2 Necrosphinxes. I still want my Leech on a dragon.
Yep.
I want to take a casket, maybe. Okay, now, so again, it's forcing not bad choices, but suboptimal choices, because obviously you haven't got the fly. I mean, the Sphinx and the Dragon aren't dissimilar in stats. But you don't get the fly, which is obviously the big thing, because then you're not marching.
Yeah, so. That's fair. Okay. And the big Royal Host list of massive skeleton block probably isn't a thing anymore. Because of poison's not quite as good, volley fire. Yeah, I don't know.
You can't really get you Shabti in the Royal Host to support it.
That's true. That list would just get stuck on a balloon, wouldn't it? It just
absolutely
wouldn't do anything.
well, it might kill a balloon, but then the second one's down the side of it, just absolutely wrecking it.
Yeah. It's interesting how Cathay are now the yardstick that we measure all army lists with. Which, I mean, again, if they are the outlier, if they're I don't want to say they're the number 1 army, but they're certainly the one at the moment that's the hottest sort of culprit for problematic lists.
I think they are the meta-defining army.
Yes.
At the moment.
Yeah, definitely. You can't go to an event and ignore them, because especially if you want to do well, you have to have a plan against that one time or maybe 2 times that you come up against a Cathay list, and what you're going to do about all of that. It is definitely a check for being able to do stuff. So okay.
and again, that Grand Army, multiple terror causers, because Sky Lanterns don't like terror tests, especially with necromantic magic that Tomb Kings can do. That's probably the easiest way to kill lanterns is
top
terror.
tech.
Top tech is make them take terror tests. They really don't like it.
Aren't they like leadership 9 or 10 or something?
With characters, they're 9, but by themselves they're not great.
Okay.
The casket's also really good if you can
Zap
debuff their leadership. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. There's an episode there about how to kill Cathay. Tune in next week. Okay, I like that. Okay, that's Tomb Kings. Warriors. Now, this is another one that's probably sort of up there here at the top. They've got a pool choice of 4, and we have a Chaos Dragon is 1, Giant Spawn is 1, a Warpfire Dragon is 1, Crown of Everlasting Conquest if on a Chaos Dragon is 1, so that's the regen item. Talisman of the Carrier Crow, that's the other regen item if on a Chaos Dragon is another choice. Each dragon after the second costs 2. which is for Chaos and Warfare Dragons. Each giant Chaos spawn after the first is 2, and no further restrictions, nothing for Heralds or Wolves of the Sea. Okay, so this is essentially limiting the triple dragon build.
It's limiting either the triple dragon build or the double dragon, double giant spawn.
Yeah. So you can still, you can have 1, 2.
You can have 3 dragons.
You can have 3 dragons, can't you? But they're not going to be. None of them are going to be triple save dragons.
No, absolutely.
That's
and obviously, again, two of them are T5, which is a thing.
Which is a factor. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes strength 4 shooting relevant against them.
Yeah, exactly.
Or you can have 2 exalted on dragon and 1 giant chaos spawn.
Yeah. Which doesn't feel too bad. So you can still have a monster mash list if that's what you wanted to do. It's just not going to be quite as oppressive as the full. It's really the theme on this seems to be a lot of hammering the triple save stuff. Lots of wounds and triple saves is the negative, and mobility, I guess, is the negative play experience, because if you have something that's very hard to kill, very mobile, it's just very difficult to pin it down and actually get points out of it.
So if you compare this to what we did for High Elves, they're very analogous.
Yeah. No, that's fair. And it seems to be that's the only real sort of restriction. We don't care if you take a regen on a horse. Yeah.
Crack on.
Or a manticore.
Or a manticore. No.
Yeah, that's a thing. Or a chariot, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because
they're all still strong options.
Yeah.
But they're not the flick to page 1, pick the
obvious
thing.
Yeah. They're not, and this is all it is. It's just negating the obvious options and making you think, which is good. This late into the edition, it's good to think creatively and do something different other than what you've been running for the last X amount of events.
Yeah, and again, the other thing is we're not trying to invalidate people's model collection.
Of course,
you can still run your 3 dragon list.
Yeah,
absolutely. You're just not running regen on it. So you don't need to change your models at all. You haven't got to buy or repaint anything. You just don't get your regen saves.
Yeah. That's a very good point. There is nothing that's banned here.
No.
Nothing is banned. You're just limiting the amount of things you can take.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of, again, one of our design principles is we won't change stats, we won't change abilities, we won't ban any individual model.
Yeah.
Unless something comes out that's truly ridiculous, but I just can't see us doing that. Yeah. But all we do is we just make it. Let's say Mao Ying was ridiculous.
You just make it a really expensive pull choice.
She's 7 pull choices. You can take her, but you can't take anything else.
Yeah.
So,
and that's the way you deal with these sort of things. Is if it's one problem unit, you can deal with it or ignore it or whatever. But if it's like 4 or 5 problem units, then it just becomes a real.
Yeah, let's say Galrak was amazing. You'd make him cost 4.
Yeah.
You can have him, but you can't have anything else.
No other dragons. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's fair. And I guess these sort of things they will change as new arcane journals come out. There'll be a need for reviewing these things as well.
We've also seen that with the next Cathay book, they've talked about
having Empire.
Empire, and I think they mentioned Dwarf Slayers as an arm. So as armies of infamy come out, we'll cover them off.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. Okay, let's crack through the rest of these. There's not a lot left. Oh yeah, we get to the exciting bits, which I quite like to talk about. Okay, so first of all, Wood Elves, Grand Army. So all 3 flavors of Wood Elves, they can take 2,200 points instead of 2,000. So you've boosted them all by 10%. No restrictions. You can take whatever you want, basically.
Yeah, and again, it gives you 550 points on your dragon. So I know the Wood Elf dragons were particularly hurt by.
They were quite pricey. Yeah.
They were quite pricey, and because they haven't got access to good armor generally, now having them potentially with better saves is fine, or some of the kindreds. So again, if we find that's too much, they'll get no points, or they'll get 5%. It's designed to be flexible. Yeah.
No, that's it's a nice, easy, straightforward fix that doesn't require a lot of finagling, really, in a way.
No, and again, you don't necessarily need a whole bunch more models. You need to spend 50 more points in core, where you can probably do that with magic bands if you need to.
Yeah.
And you kind of go from there.
Yeah,
So,
that makes sense. Okay. And now we get into the legacy armies. Now, am I right in thinking this pack was created with the assumption that there's no additional rules, no renegades,
yeah.
none of those sort of
No.
like other homebrew sort of rules? So this is just straight out the PDF,
Yeah.
as it were. Okay, so Chaos Dwarves, no restrictions, which makes sense. They seem to be there in the middle, aren't they? There, thereabouts. And then we get into these ones. So you got Demons of Chaos, can take 2,200. Same as Wood Elves. Again, they've got lots of pricey options. I mean, Dark Elves are exactly the same, and Lizardmen are exactly, in fact, Ogres as well. So all four of these have just an increase in bump in points. Interesting to see no limit to Double Dragon and Dark Elves. Now that's just Druchii favoritism, I think.
Well, I haven't got Dark Elf army in this book because I think Cathay are the new Dark Elves.
Yes.
So
yeah, that's fair. I mean,
but,
we're not seeing these. We're not really seeing these armies a lot.
No, we talked about Dark Elves. Did they need it or not? We felt, to be fair, on all the other with kind of in line with all the other legacy factions, it wasn't unreasonable to give them 10%. Again, if we see them being a problem, we'll rein them in. Yeah, Chaos Dwarfs are kind of probably the strongest of the legacy factions we've seen consistently.
Well, apart from maybe the strongest legacy faction, VC.
Oh yes, sorry, yeah. So they're kind of
Although they don't
where
feel
they
like a legacy faction. I feel like they're constantly up there. But yes,
I forgot about that. Again, I've kind of in my brain they're not. They feel like Chaos Dwarfs feel like where they need to be.
Yeah.
A lot of the others feel like they need a little lift.
They're behind.
VC, which we'll get to, get a bit of a slap. And then there is one faction that gets more cake, maybe cheese, than anyone else.
The cheese. Let's look at the green cheese then. Skaven. Right. Skaven, 2,300 points. The only army that's had more than a 10% bump. Yeah. And I think that's fair. I think if you speak to anyone who actually plays Skaven, it does feel like an overcosted faction. It feels like everything's too expensive in it.
Yeah, and again, I don't know how much this will help.
Yeah, more expensive crap. Maybe that's not the solution.
Yeah, because they've just generally got bad rules.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But because that's outside of our remit, changing rules, this was the best we did. I mean, it does get to the point of, well, what do I spend those points on? To your point, I've just got more stuff on the table that's just getting in the way of each other.
Yeah.
This was as far as we felt we could go at the moment. So.
Skaven are probably the weakest. The weakest faction, sort of, at the moment, aren't they? Which is funny because in previous editions that was not the case. It's the complete opposite. So
they were a team's tournament staple. So
they used to be one of the top armies. You'd see them do really well. So I'm quite happy to see them down at the bottom, but maybe not quite as far in the bottom. It does feel like you don't see them at all, and it's a flavor of Warhammer that we miss.
Yeah, and it's a shame for people who've got those models.
Exactly, those hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Skaven slaves that they've painted that are now gathering dust. Well, we'll see if this will change it. So they definitely need a little boost. But one army that does not need a boost any further is the Vampire Counts. Okay, so this has received quite a bit of a slap. You have a pool size of 3. Each Banshee is 1 choice. Cairn rates is 0.5. The first we've seen of 0.5. Interesting.
Yeah.
First Mortis Engine is 1. Second Mortis Engine is 2. Hex rates are 1. Black Coach is 1. Terrorgeist is 0.5. Each model with the Invocation of Nehek ability after the second. Now, Invocation of Nehek, is that the raising one?
Yes, yeah, that's the same restriction. It's
the same for the Tomb Kings.
On a rise. Yeah.
Got you. Scepter of Denoir, which we see all the time. Again, that's the double raising item. And the Drakenhof banner that we see a lot, which increases the regen, usually on the Graveguard, is what we see there. Okay, quite nasty. Pool choice of 3. So if you were... The 5 Scream list is no longer possible, because you can have a Mortis Engine, a second Mortis Engine, and that's it. You can't have any Banshees or anything. You could have double Banshee, 2 Terrorgeist. That's a 4 Scream list. Is that right? Or am I...
You could, but then Terrorgeists are harder to move around the board because they've got such a big
They're massive as well, yeah.
They're not ethereal.
True. Easier to kill as well, I think. Usually.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, that's kind of the difference between. That's why cairn rates are half, because they're still ethereal. So some armies will really struggle with them, but the they're not banshees. They haven't
They're
got
not
the
matches,
screen.
exactly. They're more of
Yeah.
a blocker unit, really, than
Yeah.
something that's going to come
Yeah.
out and kill your general,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
And then again, stopping the multiple raising abilities, or if that's what you have, you don't have any of the other bits and pieces. Yeah, I can see that's all. I can see the sort of theme behind that. That makes sense. At the very bottom of it's just a log of changes there as well. So
so it makes kind of the Graveguard block with the Mortis engine behind it.
Yeah.
Multiple people kind of raising into it.
Yeah.
It turns that down. The same with the Blood Knights. So again, it's not. It's stopping massed ethereals, which
nobody likes.
Vampire camp nobody likes.
Yeah.
It's great if you're a Warriors player, but otherwise it's no fun. Stop some of the other things, but you can still write good VC lists under it.
Definitely.
But it's just stopping again. Again, it really is about those kind of mid to lower tables. If you've never played VC, again, Legacy Army, you've never played them, you turn up and somebody's got double Mortis engine, 3 Banshees, Graveguard block with multiple Necros behind it, and you go, oh, those Graveguard are squishy, and you go, and they don't die, and you get screamed off, and you're like, well, what happened there?
Yeah.
So
no, and that sort of goes in theme with the rest of the pack. Is it's basically it's toning down all of those non-interactive.
Yeah.
I hesitate to use the word broken, but it can feel broken, in some situations. Abilities, and if you're not changing rules, what other things can you do? You're I guess limiting the abuse that you can have on there. So I think that definitely makes sense.
Yeah, and people that don't live and breathe the game and aren't thinking about it all the time, they don't know about these things. There's always the excuse, we'll play better, write better lists. Okay, if I'm more casual, I'm just turning up to a tournament because I want to spend a weekend away, etc.
Just want to have a good time and not
just
cry.
Have a good time. Yeah. Okay, you expect to get hammered by one decent player at some point across the weekend. You expect to play somebody who's below your level, and then you kind of want 3 games that are at your level.
Yeah.
And what you don't want is you just come up against something you've got no answer to. That you basically lost the game at list design through no fault of your own. It's just somebody's got access to better options than you. So. And
do you think that is more prevalent in version 1.5 than it was before now, or is it just a Cathay problem?
So I think it's a future problem.
Okay.
Generally, events, to our way of thinking, are pretty small at the moment. Yeah. We it makes me laugh that we call 20, 30 player events GTs. That's
right.
That's amusing. In the old days we would have called them tin pots, and I'm not trying to upset anybody, but that's just the reality.
That's just the reality of the scene at the moment.
Yeah. As we head to larger events, which will come,
they will.
It becomes more and more important. I think so. 1.5 Ed, fixed a lot of the things that were important, that needed fixing. But I think as we move towards larger events, having comp stops. Again, I'm going to use a term that people might not always appreciate, but the tryhards. So the people that winning's really important to, that haven't necessarily got the skill to win.
I feel like you're describing me here and singling me out here, but
not at all.
Okay, but other tryhards.
But people that will push rules, etc. Without comp, they're going to turn up with ridiculous lists
and ruin someone's day, really.
And ruin someone's day. Yeah. The top players are still going to beat them because they're better than them.
This is the thing.
Again, they're going to be sitting at the top of that kind of mid bracket.
Yeah.
And okay, if there's 4 or 5 of them, they get to play each other all weekend. Happy days. And it's good. I'm fine with that, but that won't be. And again, they're going to play somebody just a little bit or similar or less skilled to them that is there just more for the experience.
Yeah.
It's just going to be unpleasant.
And in a way, that's really why comp is there. It's not there to make good players better in a way.
No?
It's really there to protect those players who aren't quite as experienced. It's in a way to sort of make their weekend, their event experience more fun, because you're not going to be coming up against the most horrendous thing that you don't have any answers to. It's going to be a bit more. You'll still come up against great players playing the best list that they can field under the conditions, but it's not going to be a really non-fun, non-game where you deploy and you go, well, I don't know why I'm even bothering playing. Why don't I just go home?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, the classic example, I was at an event at Patriot Games a couple of weekends ago. There was a guy there that had a list. So he didn't have the rule of 3 in place.
Yep.
So he had 15 can wraiths.
Yeah.
Now,
Nasty.
Calm as a bitch because he played the Demons player in the first game.
Wonderful.
So wonderful. Magical attacks everywhere, lots of dead can wraiths. And didn't do that well over the weekend. But that's just a nonsense list.
Yeah. And I bet after he lost his first game, he ruined somebody else's game afterwards.
Yeah, probably. I mean, he kind of, his weekend looked like that. Yeah, it was like, list I can smash, list with magical attacks, doing nothing.
Yeah.
So that, and
that should really be said. I think we did point it out earlier, is that the compact does have a rule of 3 in it.
Yes.
Innately as
well.
Yeah,
so it follows
it'll stop that sort of abuse.
3, 4, 3, 2 in the combined arms. Yeah. And one of the other things is think about Lewis, like the Saffron Slam, which is a softer event. One of the things we plan to do in a future iteration is have 3 pool sizes.
Okay.
So kind of have this is your recommended pool size.
Yeah.
Pretty much as they are. This is, you want to run a bit of a softer event. So here's the pool size. So Cathay might be 5, let's say.
Yeah.
In that. And then, okay, here's more a kind of Newcastle group that like to play hardcore, teeth, etc.
Yeah.
But still want just to curb like the worst excesses.
Yeah.
Here's, Cathay might be 9 under that.
Yeah.
So we're trying to make this extensible and kind of usable in every situation. There will be things in there that are wrong. There will be things in there, and this is actually part of the fun of writing a combat, where somebody like Chris does something wacky, and you're like, okay, you found the hole. Great, well done.
Is it bad? Do we need to plug it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But that's, to me, comp forces another tier of fun on the game, because you've now got a different set of challenges in terms of writing your list. You've got 4 choices forced on you didn't have before. So.
Yeah. No, that totally makes sense, and I guess that's going to be the future projection of this compact, the pool comp, is that it'll be released into the wild shortly. After this, I guess, and basically people will be invited to play with it, use it at their events, and then feed that back, and then any problem army lists or units or anything else that we see that can be put on a list for changes in the next iteration, whenever that'll be. It's a collaborative project because it was created with the help of a community of UK tournament organizers. There was a lot of feedback done initially, and now that it's in a state of completion, that it's ready to go out into the wild, it'll be interesting to see what other people think of it, what how people break it, and really, in a way, what I would recommend to anyone is you can have a look at it and you can have an inkling of how it might work, but you won't know as well as you will after having played under it. So basically, you can have an opinion about it, but your opinion doesn't count as much until you've actually played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 events under it, and you actually can see what the data is, because that's what we need now. Now we need the data to back up our sort of assumptions and see if things need to be tweaked from there.
And I think the other thing that people do is, so you as a high elf player, you go straight to high elves and go, oh, this is ridiculous. Yes. I can't take this. You don't know what you're talking about. You've ruined my life.
Yeah.
You need to look at every other army before you look at yours.
Yeah.
So that's the way I would recommend you read the pack. If you're a high elf player, go to the high elf section last.
Yeah.
Because then you pre-process, oh, right, okay. Well, warriors have had this here. Yeah. And warriors are probably the best analogy. Warriors have had this hit. You get to high elves. You're like, okay, we've both taken pretty much the same sort of hit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, don't read your army first.
Yeah. You know where the bar, you need to know where the bar is before you can, you can see where you are on that. So yeah, that's definitely a good point. You do have to, there is a tendency for people to look at one specific niche and go, why are Great Eagles limited? Why is this a problem? But then you look at it and you go, okay, here's the whole holistic view of the whole pack, and this is what you were trying to achieve, and this is why things are the way they are. Play under it, give it a try, see what you think, and feed that back. And I guess what is the best way to feedback? Speak to your TOs, like basically,
speak to your TOs,
and they'll feed it back for you.
Yeah, feed it back. If you're a TO, use it. Feed it back. There's a Discord server if you want to get involved. Feed it back. We listen to every opinion. We then kind of create consensus from that. So if you suggest something and we don't do it, it doesn't mean we haven't listened. It's just that we're trying to gather everyone's feedback and get as much information as possible from people to make it better. And I said this is really done with the sole focus of making the hobby more accessible to people and to grow the hobby. I want to get back to playing 200 player events.
Yes.
If you haven't played a 200 player square based event, you don't know what you're missing.
It is. It will happen. I actually believe it will happen. I don't think it won't happen this year.
No,
but
probably not next year. I think we'll be in the 60s, 70s routinely. I think hundreds the year after, and then we're heading.
The trajectory is up. It's only going to go up because it is a great game. The game, the rules are decent. Models are amazing. The community is great. It has all the makings of a really good, strong system. Give it a couple of years, and I think we'll be up there. We'll be, I think the trajectory for this whole is very much up. And that's what we need to do is just to keep people interested, keep people from basically rage quitting.
Absolutely. Because I think we're in a position that we weren't in for a long time with kind of 8th Ed. We've got a lot of us dinosaurs who are coming back.
Yeah.
But we've also got a lot of young people.
The new bloods, I guess.
The new bloods.
Yeah.
And they're heavily engaged, and so that mix we haven't had for a long time. So that's a really precious thing. So kind of having the consensus to do something which is good for us all. As you said, as you said at the beginning, some of the young bloods have not seen how crazy it gets without comp.
Yeah, and that's in a way that I think some of us that have been around in the scene for a little bit longer are trying to show people what can happen if you go down the line of no comp, and why leaving things alone will actually be a problem rather than a solution. And in a way, we're trying to show our experience of things that have happened in the past, and trying to prevent this happening to this nice new growing young community.
And I'm all for hard games and hard lists within reason.
Within reason, and maybe there's again event variety. Maybe there's it's all about flavor. You can have events that have no holds barred, and that's a thing. That would be. But you don't want every event to be like that to the point where people get disenchanted. I think that would be to the detriment of the hobby. So hopefully that has been helpful for everybody. We're keen to hear what you think of the comp here. Feel free to chuck some comments in there, see what you think in terms of ways you can break the game. I'll put the link in the description for the comp pack itself. Play under it, see what you think, and we're looking forward to making it an improvement in the future. Brian, have you got any shout outs you want to do before we sign off? What's your next event?
No, not really. My next event's Facehammer, so run by good friend Russ Veal. So that's first weekend of September at Element Games.
That's right, 6th and 7th.
Used to be one of the big events. yeah, hopefully, that'll come back. But yeah, just get out there and play.
Yeah, that sounds good.
That's the only shout out.
I love it.
And
Okay, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Please do the usual YouTube thing. Give us a comment, like, and subscribe. That's always good. And we shall hopefully look forward to seeing you at an event in the near future. All the very best. Thanks. Bye-bye.